So something I chose to do for this was to have a common theme between the characters, and what I chose to have is crystals, because they're all hard, they're not perfect, they have sharp edges, but they are beautiful and they have value in their own right. And so starting with Will and his father, I guess, I chose this small crystal. It's a yellow one and it's see-through for Will. And I also, for his father, I chose a large yellow crystal that I have that's the same type. And the reason why I chose these for them is because I think Will's father is representative of Will's character and what he could end up being in the future if he decides to follow through with the rules and ends up killing who he is intending to kill. The reason why I specifically chose some transparent crystals is because Will in particular, he is who we're seeing the story through. His emotions and intentions are on display for us to look at and analyze. And so looking at Will, it's easy to get an understanding of what his character is. It can still add value to look around and examine the character to fully understand it, but it's easier than other characters. I can look through this rock and have an understanding of what this side and this side looks like just by looking at one side. And because Mark's father is representative of him in the future, we have an understanding that his father has gone through a similar situation. And more so than that, he's going through a very similar emotional process that Will is currently going through. So it's harder to look through this one because of how large it is, but looking through it, you still have an understanding of this is what this side looks like. I have a general idea of what this side looks like. But if I want to get a deeper understanding of the character, I can by looking further at it. And then for Uncle Mark, I chose this opaque peach rock. The reason why I chose this one in particular is because his emotions aren't on as display as Mark and his father. And so you really do have to look at the character deeply to get a fuller understanding of what his character is, what his intentions are. And just to basically fully understand the character, you need to take a deeper look at him. And then I also picked one out for Danny. She does not interact with anyone else in the scene, but she is still in there. And I chose this smooth pink rock for Danny. I chose it because she died so young and because of how smooth it is. So life hasn't come and chipped away at her and left her with a hard edge. She's the one that can be seen as the most perfect. Life hasn't come to take away her innocence yet, basically. So, yeah. We're going to say that this is the elevator. I'll have Danny over here. Mark, who just finished talking to Will. Audience, I'm going to place behind Will because we're seeing the story through his lens and through his emotional landscape. And then we have Will's father, who enters the elevator. Will focuses his attention on his father, the two hug, and then both Uncle Mark and Will's father starts telling him about Uncle Mark's death, how Will's father killed the man he thought killed Mark, thus finishing the rules, but it turns out he was wrong. He didn't get the right guy. And Will starts to feel a little bit ashamed because his dad didn't get the right guy. After this conversation, Will and his father hug again, but this time Will's father grabs the gun and holds it to his temple. And Will, out of fear, wets himself because he knows that this gun is real. No matter whether or not these are figments of his imagination, the gun is real. So if that's up against his temple, he is in danger. Pops ends up giving the gun back, and then Will ends up screaming out of rage and humiliation. And yeah.